There is a pattern hidden in human history, a pattern no one talks about, a pattern that proves one thing: the people who conquer the world are the same people who once lost everything. Tonight, I will tell you 3 stories, not of kings, not of millionaires, but of broken men who walked through darkness alone and came out the other side carrying the light for the entire world. This is the story of a scientist who died with nothing but gave humanity electricity, Nikola Tesla. A man who failed more times than anyone you know and became a legendary president, Abraham Lincoln. And a man who was abused, bullied, overweight, and became one of the hardest men alive, David Goggins. This is the man who lost everything and conquered the world. Part 1. Nikola Tesla, the genius abandoned by the world. He lit the world, but died in darkness. Narrator: Nikola Tesla wasn't born with privilege. He was born in a small village during a lightning storm, and many said he was a child of darkness. They were wrong. He was a child of light. From a young age, Tesla saw things others couldn't. While normal children played, Tesla imagined machines, energy, inventions. But the world was not ready for him. He moved to America with 4 cents in his pocket, homeless, starving, sleeping in parks, not knowing if tomorrow he would survive. But he had one thing: a vision big enough to push back the darkness. He dreamed of a world powered without wires, a world where electricity flowed through the sky like water, a world where energy was free for all humanity. But the world punished him for dreaming so big. Thomas Edison used him. J.P. Morgan abandoned him. Companies ridiculed him. And slowly, the world turned its back on the greatest mind of the century. Tesla spent his final years alone in a New York hotel room, feeding pigeons, fighting madness, with no money, no family, no support. And yet, today, every home, every city, every screen, every machine runs on his ideas. He lost everything in life, but he conquered the world after death. That is the story of Nikola Tesla. Part 2. Abraham Lincoln, the man who failed into greatness. Failure built the strongest president in American history. Narrator: before Abraham Lincoln became a legend, he was a man the world constantly rejected. He failed in business. He lost multiple elections. He faced bankruptcy. He suffered depression so severe he was kept away from knives. The woman he loved died. He was mocked for the way he looked. He was told again and again, "You will never be anything." But every time life broke him, Lincoln stood up again. Imagine failing in almost every chapter of your life, and still believing you were made for something bigger. That was Lincoln. When he finally became president, the country exploded into a civil war. Everyone expected him to break, to surrender, to collapse. Instead, he rose higher than anyone imagined. He united a divided nation. He freed the enslaved. He rewrote the moral direction of America. Lincoln taught the world, you don't need a perfect life. You just need unbreakable courage. He lost election after election. He lost people he loved. He lost peace, stability, and comfort. But because he refused to quit, he won a place in history no one can erase. Lincoln lost everything and became a conqueror of nations, not by force, but by integrity. Part 3. David Goggins, the man who broke himself to build himself. From abused kid to the hardest man alive. Narrator: David Goggins was not born strong. He was not born confident. He was not born disciplined. He was born into violence. His father beat him, bullied him, used him. Goggins lived in fear. He stuttered. He had learning disabilities. He was the kid everyone laughed at. And as he grew older, life got worse. He became overweight, over 300 pounds. He worked a dead-end job spraying cockroaches. He hated his reflection. He hated his life. He hated himself. Until one night, he looked in the mirror and saw a man he didn't recognize. That night he made a decision. I will rebuild myself, or I will die trying. What followed is one of the most painful transformations in human history. Goggins ran miles he wasn't built to run. He trained until his bones cracked. He pushed until his body bled. He studied until his mind broke open. He failed again and again, but every failure made him stronger. He went from 300-pound depressed man to Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, Air Force tactical operator, ultramarathon runner, world pull-up record holder, international icon of discipline. Goggins lost every excuse, every comfort, every weakness, and in doing so, He conquered himself. And the man who conquers himself conquers the world. Before David Goggins became the symbol of mental toughness, before the world called him a machine, before he became a Navy SEAL, ultramarathon runner, and world record holder, he was a broken child, a bullied teenager, a depressed, overweight adult, a man who hated himself. His life is not a story of strength, it's a story of suffering, and choosing to stand up every time life tried to destroy him. Let's go deep into the childhood he never chose, the pain he never deserved, and the transformation he built with his own blood. 1. Childhood. Hell begins at home. David Goggins grew up in Buffalo, New York. But his home wasn't a home, it was a battlefield. His father, Nikola Goggins, ran a roller skating rink. But behind the lights and music, there was violence. His father beat him, beat his mother, and beat his brother. Sometimes with belts, sometimes with fists, always with rage. David worked at the skating rink as a child, cleaning floors, fixing skates, collecting money, working like an adult at the age of 6 or 7. He wasn't allowed to be a child. No play, no friends, no peace. He lived in constant terror, and this trauma left scars that followed him for life. He stuttered badly. He had learning problems. He couldn't focus in school. He had anxiety and fear. He felt less than every other kid. David didn't grow up. He survived. 2. School. From abuse to bullying, school was not an escape. He was one of the only black kids in a mostly white school. Kids made fun of him for the way he talked, the way he dressed, his fear, his lack of confidence. Teachers told him he was slow. Students told him he was stupid. David started believing it. He said, "I felt like I was the dumbest, weakest, most inferior person alive." Every day became a battle between fear and survival. 3. Teenage years. The world gets darker. As David grew older, things didn't get better. In fact, they got darker. He struggled academically. His self-esteem collapsed, and the trauma he carried from his father turned into depression. His family later escaped his father and moved away. But trauma follows you even when you run. David felt lost. He didn't know who he was. He didn't believe he had a future. He didn't know why he existed. 4. Early adulthood. Rock bottom. By his 20s, David reached his lowest point. He worked a dead-end job spraying cockroaches in restaurants. He wore a name tag. He hated waking up. He hated going to work. He hated who he had become. He ate fast food every day. He gained weight. A lot of weight. David Goggins became over 300 pounds. His life felt like a loop. Wake up gives hate, life gives eat, gives work, gives sleep, gives repeat. He avoided mirrors. He avoided people. He avoided responsibility. He called this period the real hell, because physical pain can heal, but emotional pain stays inside and eats you alive. 5. The mirror moment. I saw a man I didn't recognize. Everything changed one night. David looked into the bathroom mirror. This moment is famous in his book Can't Hurt Me. He turned on the light. He stared at his reflection, and he saw someone weak, broken, defeated, someone he didn't respect, someone he didn't want to be. And he said the words that changed his life forever. I will rebuild this man, or I will die trying. That was the birth of David Goggins. 6. The impossible dream. Become a Navy SEAL. He made the craziest decision a 300-pound man could make, to become a Navy SEAL. But there was one problem. He was too heavy. He had only 3 months to lose more than 100 pounds. The recruiters laughed at him, but Goggins didn't care. He wasn't doing this for them. He was doing it to prove to himself that he wasn't the weak kid anymore. What followed was torture. Running on broken legs, biking 4 hours, swimming until his lungs burned, eating almost nothing, waking up at 3 a.m. every day. He pushed himself beyond what should be physically possible. And in 3 months, he lost over 100 pounds. The recruiters stopped laughing. He got accepted. 7. Hell Week. The birth of an unbreakable mind. Navy SEAL Hell Week is considered the hardest military training in the world. Most men quit. Their bodies collapse. Their minds break. Goggins did Hell Week 3 times. Because of medical issues and injuries. 3 times. He did it with stress fractures, pneumonia, broken bones, a hole in his heart, constant pain. But he refused to quit. He discovered something inside him. The 40% rule. When your mind says you're done, you're only 40% done. This became his life philosophy. Pain didn't scare him anymore. Quitting did. 8. The transformation, from weak to unstoppable. After becoming a Navy SEAL, Goggins didn't stop. He became a Navy SEAL, Air Force tactical operator, Army Ranger, ultra-marathon runner, ultra-cyclist, world pull-up record holder over 4,017 hours, motivational icon. People called him the hardest man alive, unbreakable, a real-life superhero. But he said, "I'm not special. I just stopped giving myself excuses." 9. The new chapter of teaching the world suffering equals strength. Today, David Goggins is not just a runner or a soldier. He is a symbol, a message, a reminder that your past is not your prison. Your pain is not your identity. Your trauma is not your destiny. He wrote two best-selling books, Can't Hurt Me, Never Finished. He teaches that you can rebuild your life at any age. Discipline is stronger than motivation. Suffering can forge greatness. The mind is the strongest muscle. David's mission is simple, to show people what they are truly capable of. 10. The truth of his life, why people follow him. People don't follow Goggins because he's strong. They follow him because he was broken, he was weak, he was scared, he was abused, he was overweight, he was depressed, he was failing, he was lost, just like millions of people. But he refused to stay that way. His story says one thing to the world: you can rewrite your story. Any day, any moment, any time. Final message: how he created his new life. David Goggins didn't become a champion by avoiding pain. He became a champion by walking through it. He didn't find himself. He built himself. Every mile he ran, every tear he shed, every fear he faced, every failure he survived, became a brick in the foundation of the strongest mindset in the world. And the message he leaves us with is simple: nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. The secret they all share: Tesla, Lincoln, Goggins. 3 men from 3 different worlds. But one truth brings them together: to become someone the world can't ignore, you must first become someone the world doesn't understand. These men were mocked, rejected, broke, lonely, abandoned, defeated. But remember this: some people break when life gets hard. Champions are born there. Tesla lit the world. Lincoln changed the world. Goggins inspired the world. They lost everything. And that is why they had nothing left to lose. No fear, no doubt, no excuses. Their message to you is simple: when life takes everything from you, it's preparing you to take everything back. You're not failing. You're forging. You're not breaking. You're becoming. Your story is not over. It's just beginning. Because every legend was once a man who stood in the dark and refused to stop walking.